So, they're hex bugs because they're hexagons? Is that what it is?
Mm.
It's really cool.
I don't know why they're hex
You brought it in and
bugs.
showed me.
Yeah?
It looked like a beehive. You did, I know.
Both of
I met
you. Both of you did. First you, of course, Owen.
All right, guys, come on over to the circle because Owen and Max's grandpa is here, and he's going to tell us a bee story. He's a farmer, and he's going to tell us a bee story.
I know all
So,
you little,
have a seat.
all you little guys here, girls and boys, I know that you all have a grandpa. I'm Jason, I'm Owen and Max's grandpa. And I live on a farm in Illinois, which is long, long ways with the airplane to get to it. But on the farm, one morning I came out, and I have an older piece of equipment they use for decorations on the farm, you know, and here is a whole bunch of bees just swarming around this little beehive. And it's hanging underneath this old piece of equipment. And so we look at it, and I decided we better call a beekeeper. These are ladies and men who make their living getting the honey from the bees. And they have to be able to control the bees so that they don't sick, and they get to be natural bee keepers. And they don't bother the bees, and the bees don't bother them. They don't sting them and beat them. So here they are. The bees are a big group of maybe 1,000 bees. I really don't know how many is there. And they all follow one bee, which is called the queen bee. And the queen bee, when she leaves this little hive here and goes out, these bees will all swarm around and they go in all the flowers and everything and get the honey from what's in all the flowers. So anyway, this swarm of bees here, when the beekeepers came, the man and the woman, they put a beehive underneath, and then they bump. They also have a little smoke thing, which is sulfur, and it calms the bees down so that they don't want to sting. So they sit there, and they're swarming around all this thing, and the queen bee is in there. Now, when these two people came, they had a beehive, and they set it underneath, and they used the smoke, and they start tapping it, and the bees then fall down, and they go into the hive for the beekeeper to take home. And he takes them to his farm. But here, all of them were falling in there, and all of a sudden, here goes the bee. Queen bee, she doesn't like it. She goes and flies up in a tree. So he can recognize, out of all of these bees, this queen bee is just a little bit bigger. And with his eyesight, he could tell the queen bee left, goes up in the tree. All these bees come from the hive and start to go up into the tree following the queen bee. So he says to me, "Do you have a ladder?" I said, "Yeah, but I don't want you to get on the ladder up in the tree. I'll use my tractor, and I have a lift on it." Put him in the lift, put his thing on it, he goes up there, and he's tapping them, and they're going back into the beehive that he had there. And all of a sudden, he says to me, "I'm operating the tractor." He says, "I got the queen bee right here." He had the queen bee in his fingers. And I said, "Bring it down, I want to see it." Because I had never seen a queen bee, because I can't recognize it like he can. So he brought the queen bee down, he showed it to me, just a little bit bigger. But all the bees follow that one bee, queen bee. And he took the queen bee, put him in his hive, and then he said, "I'll be back in 2 hours." 2 hours he came back, all the bees were in the hive. He picked it up and took it to his farm. And then he picked, yes?
How many stingers did the queen have?
How many?
Stingers.
You mean for the whole colony? One queen?
Yes.
There's only one queen bee. Why? I don't know that it is.
He's asking how many stingers does a queen bee have?
How many?
Stingers.
Stingers,
On the queen bee.
only one just like all the other bees. There's really no difference in the bees. It's only that for some reason, the way nature is made, you know, with deer and all the different animals, they all take a liking to one, and these all are attracted with the one queen bee. So the moral of the story is, don't just kill off the bees and be scared of them, because a lot of them are here for us. They make the honey that we get to put on our pancakes and all this good stuff. So that's the story of a queen bee and the whole colony following her around. Okay?
Thank you. Very cool. That was great. Great story. Thank you for sharing that.